Now our Sunday spotlight shining on President George W. Bush, speaking there at a forum I moderated this week at the Bush Institute, and afterwards a rare conversation with the former commander-in-chief who's made it his mission to avoid the limelight since leaving the Oval Office.
He has stayed as far away from politics as possible, making headlines for staying out of the headlines. No comment on the issues.
A lot of people ask me, do I miss much about being president? And the answer is really no.
Former President George W. Bush is still making some big-time appearances, here tossing the coin at a season opener for his beloved Dallas Cowboys. But mostly it's been tackling his new passion, oil painting, or golf and good causes, sometimes golfing for good causes, like America's returning veterans.
Up to this point in time, we have honored our vets through sporting events, riding mountain bikes or playing golf.
But the president decided that wasn't enough for the men and women he sent to war, this week announcing a massive study of post-9/11 veterans through his George W. Bush Institute and Syracuse University on how to reintegrate returning veterans into the civilian world and workforce. The former president and I sat down in Dallas, joined by veteran and nonprofit entrepreneur Jake Wood.
We got a problem. Too many vets are unemployed. There's what we call a civilian military divide. In other words, the returning vets think one thing, the civilian population thinks another. And our aim is to get people to understand each other better for the good of the veteran community.
Veterans are simply looking to be understood. They're looking to be challenged.
Wood is the perfect example. A former Marine Corps squad leader in Iraq and sniper in Afghanistan, he returned home to co-found Team Rubicon, a nonprofit made up of veterans and doctors who respond to disasters at home and around the world, from the Philippines to Oklahoma, putting the skills they learned in combat, logistics, team building, and problem solving to work. But Wood says more needs to be done for the tens of thousands of veterans looking for work.
There's an opportunity for organizations like Team Rubicon, like the mission continues, to provide veterans with perhaps that sense of purpose, that sense of mission that they had while they had the uniform on.
For President Bush, knowing the great cost of these wars, 6,800 American service members killed and 51,000 wounded, this new initiative to help returning veterans helps him as well.
I think all of us, and I'll include myself in that, feel deeply about veterans. But for you, Mr. President, it has to help you cope with what happened in those wars.
Oh, no question it helps. I mean, I have a duty. I obviously get slightly emotional talking about our vets because I have an emotional, I'm in there with them. But I'm also, my spirit is always uplifted when I visit with vets. I say there's no self-pity. We've got a society that's incredibly comfortable, and too many people saying, oh man, woe is me, not our veteran community. They don't say woe is me. They say, what can I do to continue to serve?
A warrior and his old commander-in-chief, shaped by the same wars, now reunited by a new struggle.
How can we bring civilians and military service members together to share these stories so that there's a mutual understanding, so that as a nation we can heal together?
Do you think?
I think, let me, I'm sorry to butt in, but I'm not sorry to butt in because I butted in. But,
good president.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to.
So here's what the country will ultimately understand. That one of the great resources we have in our nation is vets such as Jake. If he chooses to join the United States Marine Corps and serves in combat in 2 theaters, it's a pretty unique person who's willing to take that kind of risk and to make that kind of sacrifice. Well, those are characteristics which are hard to teach.
Though the distance might seem great between the battlefields of Afghanistan and the bullet points of Bush's big study.
Our mission here at the Bush Center is not only remind people that we have a duty to our vets, but to make sure that when they exercise that duty, it's done in an efficient way. Jake, for example, I'll make a pitch for him. He does good work, support his program. How about that?
Hey, that's a good endorsement.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Back now with the roundtable. Bill Kristol, Matt Dowd, you both have sons who served in those wars, war in Iraq, Afghanistan. The country's war-weary. I know the president has great hopes for this study working and joining up vets with the workforce, but how do you keep the country interested? How do you go forward with this?
Well, the country's war-weary, but they're, I think, deeply respectful of what our veterans have accomplished, and I think they also understand that veterans don't want pity. Now, they may want a little help reintegrating into the civilian workforce, and I think that's happening an awful lot in the private sector. An awful lot of people in the military and out of the military are thinking about this, and I'm glad that President Bush is taking it on as well.
Do you worry about the future for our veterans as the country forgets these wars?
Well, yeah, I worry very much for them. I, as you know, Martha, I've been very critical of the president in the past, having served him and having served him in the 2 campaigns, was very critical of him and in the wars and all that. But I do have a son in that. I think the president has done yeoman's work on this. You can tell the president's heart's very connected to this. I had a son who was fluent in Arabic, served in Iraq. He came back here, and the job he has now, he runs the operations for a charter school in the projects in Brooklyn. Nobody in the military helped him get that job. Nobody in government helped him get that job. He got that job on their own. The problem we have is every department is siloed. The Defense Department is siloed, the Labor Department is siloed, the Commerce Department is siloed. And these vets, as the president said, have characteristics that people don't see. They don't need to go into a security job. They can go into a leadership job in the company, and we have not done enough. I was just in
coordinating
I was just in
those
Los
two
Angeles.
things.
8,000 veterans are among the homeless. 8,000 veterans.
That's definitely what they're looking at, too, at the Bush Institute. And Donna, very quickly, I just want to see how you feel about the reputation of George Bush after that war. Has the public softened on him when he does things like this?
There's no question. Like many presidents after their term in office, the American people get to see another side of them. But I just want to say, as a daughter of a veteran, we value their service, their sacrifice. But with 10% or more unemployed, we need to help them find work. And that's why I'm proud that the First Lady and Mrs. Jill Biden are also doing that.
That's exactly right. Jill Biden was at this summit as well. Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. We'll be right back after this. And now, again, we honor our fellow Americans who serve and sacrifice. This week, the Pentagon released the name of one Marine killed in Afghanistan. That's all for us today. Thanks for sharing part of your Sunday with us. Check out World News with David Muir tonight. And before we go, a shout out to our newest viewer, Liam Gerard Alexander Zachary. There he is with proud mom and this week producer Kate McCarthy. Liam was born Tuesday. Give him a few days and he'll be ready to join the roundtable. Our best to Kate, her husband Drew, and of course little Liam. Have a great day.